So I'm painting a picture of a quantum universe in which we're operating, where multiple realities are possible, multiple outcomes are possible. We are co-creators. You know, you hear about this in New Age circles all the time. What does it mean? Well, it means that actually each one of us is a very potent point of change. I worked in the peace and environment movement, the human rights movement for 30 years of my life, mostly politically. Boy, that's a hard gig. Yeah? Because it's based in fear. It's based in power. It's based in all sorts of machinations from the corporate sector and governments, which is very difficult to come around. You can put 5,000 activists in front of bulldozers, but they've got to go back to work on Monday. So a difficult one. So my thoughts many years ago turned to a more esoteric sort of way of looking at things and finding some solutions. Yeah? So what's the role for Dowsers in a quantum universe? Now, I don't want to dwell on this too much, but we're facing a few challenges, right? We can agree on that. I'm not even going to go through this list because when I was actually examining all this for the first time for many years, I got quite depressed. And I looked at where biodiversity got up to over my lifetime, climate change, fake news, where it's so difficult to find what the earth is going on, where truth about water, for instance, cannot get the momentum it deserves, so it sounds like it might be, because there are vested interests. And we all know that Tesla's earliest experience where he was delivering free electricity was killed by the Rockefeller Foundation because they couldn't find a way to put a meter on free energy. So they withdrew the funding. Right? That was back in the last century. So we, as individuals and as a collective, need to be the change. Hey, how good's that? Well, pick your phones up, take a picture. Tweet it out. Or X it out. Elon Musk, hey, how about that? There we go. What a great picture. So my premise here is that all of these things, fear and addiction, consumption, social media, alcohol and gambling, religion, dominant ideologies, narrow thinking, being a little bit over-focused on conspiracy theories, as we often are. I know I have been. Sport, guilty. Yeah? All actually run counter to solving some of those issues, yes, and problems. And as Dowsers, I think, in an enlightened community, we can actually make a difference. Now, I want to turn to an esoteric concept about egregores. Anybody heard of egregores? Yay, a few people. Wonderful. Okay, well, egregores is a concept based in Western esotericism, Golden Dawn, you may have heard of, Rosicrucianism, Hermeticism. I'm a long-term member of the Theosophical Society, and part of their thoughts revolve around this as well. Now, basically, an egregore is kind of like collective consciousness or a Zeitgeist, you know, where a certain way of doing things overcomes society as a whole. Egregores are a collective thought form that is created by shared thoughts and emotions. And that could be anything. It could be fears, it could be hope, generosity. And in esoteric thinking, the egregore starts to form a particular quasi-autonomous identity which both feeds into the group and comes back out of it. Now, we've seen this happen in many different ways over the years, through racism, toxic patriarchy, colonialism, where slavery, where all of these things have actually grabbed hold of society for a particular time. And it controls and influences a group consciousness. Corporations have it. Yeah? Societies have it. Countries have it. You know, I can't think of any examples where this might have happened in the last week or two, but it'll come to mind if I give it some real thought. Yeah? Where a kind of collective insanity grips everybody to a point that it's very difficult to comprehend for those of us who are looking at the world through a different lens. Yeah? But the good news is you can feed an egregore and a thought form, and you can starve it. So something will then disappear as quickly as it's arisen if people do not give it energy. Now, we might use an example. Thank you. Thanks. That's that bit of that beer. I'll sort that out later. Remember that now. So we might use an example from olden days, biblical days, where for many, many centuries, thousands of years, the belief in nature spirits, fairies, Davic energies, dragons, elves was very real. Unicorns. Monarchs used to organise unicorn hunts. Now, look up the meaning of a unicorn on the internet. It is $1 billion startup, namely in the tech sector. There we go. That's how our myths and legends get snatched away from us, eh? Oh, very interesting. Isn't that interesting? That's stuck on that.
No, real or not real.
Yeah. That's freaky, wasn't it? Pressing the button and it wasn't moving on. Okay. You've got it now? You've been subliminally thrust. Egregor. The good news is, and it's been referred to here as part of Rob's wonderful presentation early on, as well as buying some of his amazing products and structuring our water, by the sounds, is the attitude we bring on a daily basis makes a difference to all of this. I'm talking about all you need is love, gratitude, grace, intention, kindness, prayer, regardless of your belief system, blessings, power of practice, and the power of collective action. Now, this is the challenge I'm throwing out for the society as we approach our next 40 years to some extent, about how we, as Dowsers, position ourselves in amongst this extraordinary world. Now, I can see that our collective age is a group of young, enthusiastic people who could change the world, right? Right here in this room.